Hi students, in this video I will show you how to solve empirical rule questions. This question's about finding the percentages between specific numbers. The IQ scores have a bell-shaped distribution with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. That is one clue that you're going to use the empirical rule. We want to find the percentage of people that has IQ score between 70 and 130. Before we start any empirical rule questions, I recommend that you draw the shape and you come up with all of the scores at the bottom of the normal distribution. So let me do that. Here's my normal distribution. It's approximately normal distribution. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything. I know that the mean is going to be in the middle, which is in this case 100. So I'm going to put the 100 right here. And then the empirical rule states that 86% of the data lies within one standard deviation of the mean. So if you add one standard deviation to 100, you're going to land at 100 plus the standard deviation, which is 115. And then if you subtract one standard deviation from the mean, you're going to get 100 minus 15, which is the standard deviation. So 100 minus 15 is equal to 85. I'm going to write it down here, 5. And then if you take the mean plus 2 standard deviations, then you're going to get 130. And if you take the mean and subtract 2 standard deviation from that, you're going to get 85 minus 15, which is 70. So you're going to get 70. And then lastly, if you take the mean and add 3 standard deviations, you're going to get 145. And if you take the mean and subtract 3 standard deviations from the mean, you're going to get to 55. So again, I started with the mean and then I started adding standard deviation at a time to get those points. So 100 plus 15, which is the standard deviation, is 115, and then 115 plus one more standard deviation is 130, which is 115 plus 15. And then 130 plus more 15 is equal to 145. And then similarly, I came up with these numbers. 100 minus 15, which is the standard deviation, is going to give you 85. And then 85 minus 15 will give you 70. And then 70 minus 15 will give you 55. So this is how you come up with these numbers. Now let's put the percentages inside of here. So to put the percentages, remember that the empirical rule goes like 68%, and then 95%, 99.7%. And it states that within one standard deviation of the mean, we will have 68% of the data, and 95% of the data lies within 2 standard deviations of the mean, and then 99.7% of the data is within 3 standard deviations of the mean. So this is within one standard deviation of the mean. This distance right here is within one standard deviation of the mean. That makes this area represent 68% of the data. So I know this distribution is symmetrical about the mean, so I can split this in half and I will say this is 34 and this is 34%. And then I know that within 2 standard deviations of the mean is 95% of my data. So if you don't remember these numbers, you can always say, well, what is this area right here and right there? I know the whole thing is 95%, so I will, if I subtract this little one, so I will go to a cell right here and I will say, what is 95 minus 68? The answer is 27, and I divide that by 2. So I will get 13.5. That means each one of these areas is 13.5. To come up with these areas right here, you know that all of this area right here represents 99.7%. So you're gonna say I want to find this area right here, so I know that if I subtracted 95 from 99.7, you will get the area here plus the area there, and then you divide that number in half. So let me do that. 99.7 minus 95 is equal to 4.7, and then you take 4.7 and you divide it by 2 to get the area in each of these little rectangles here. So this is 2.35 and this is 2.35. Now the area in the tail is basically, we say the area under the curve is equal to 100%. 100% minus 99.7% is equal to 0.3%. Divide 0.3% into 2, you will get 0.15% in the tail and 0.15% in the other tail. Now we're done with all of the numbers. We can go back and solve these questions right here. So to solve A, what percent of people has an IQ score between 70 and 30? So 70 is right here, and 30 and 130 is right here. So we want all of the percentages between 70 and 130. To do that, you're going to add all of the percentages in this area right here. So if you add them up, you will end up with 95%. So the answer to this question is going to be 95%. Now to answer the second question, what percentage of people has an IQ score less than 70 or greater than 130? So again, less than 70 is all of this area right here. Greater than 130 is all of the area here. So to answer that question, you're going to add all of these up. So if you do that, you're going to get 15% plus 2.35 plus 2.35 plus 0.15%, which is equal to, if you're going to add that together, you're going to get 5%. The answer is going to be 5%. And then the last part, what percent of people has an IQ score greater than 130? Greater than 130 is only that area right there. So to find the answer, you're going to add these percentages up and you will get 2.5%. So the answer for this one is 0.15 plus 2.35 is equal to 2.5%. And basically that is half of 5. So this is how you're going to answer this type of question. I hope this video helped you understand the empirical rule, and I will see you in a different one.